Oh, we're halfway there, so welcome. Learning Plan 6 is probably one of my favorite learning plans. We're going to talk about attraction, we're going to talk about love, we're going to talk about communication. So these are the things that you personally are going to find, wow, that's how I communicate. Wow, that's my language of love. And wow, I wonder if that relationship could have been better, or this one could be better if I just really think about this. So I think you're going to find a lot of self-reflection and discovery in this learning plan. It's also important because when we look at developing relationships in our work, it's the ability to work well with people in our office settings. It also allows us to talk with clients about how they're going to work together and raise their children and things. So it's a really cool learning plan. So we're going to talk about what is the nature of love, what is sexual attraction, and we're going to talk about how you communicate those. And you're going to find through your discussions as well that some people communicate very similarly and some do not, and it's really kind of cool. So this topic area can often put us kind of in this mode of, oh, I don't know if we should be talking about that between males and females, but I think it's really important in this type of an environment, a learning environment, that both males and females learn about this from one another. It's amazing. It's almost like advice. It's like Dr. Phil. So we're going to talk about what desire is. We'll talk about how you excite one another or arouse them, plateau, orgasm, those words that people are like, oh, I don't know if I should talk about them. We're going to talk about them. Right? We're going to talk about how sexual expression can change over the lifespan and how it's so interesting that we don't talk about that in nursing homes with our patients when maybe they really just need to have some form of sexual expression and we need to do that. Okay, so that's going to be pretty great. We're talking about beauty and pheromones and how that plays into what we as people view as beautiful and partners and things like that. It's really kind of cool. We're going to talk about what are the standards of beauty, how society and culture favors different people because of how attractive they are. We're going to discuss about what it's like to court and how you develop relationships and who ends up being the person that opens the door and lets you out of the car and those sorts of things and what's hooking up all about. One of my favorite things is really talking about the 20th century dating and how that's changed and how Match.com and Plenty of Fish, things have kind of changed how we date, and speed dating has changed how we develop our romantic relationships. We're going to talk about Sternberg's triangle theory of love, which is very interesting. We're going to talk about like, love, in love. I think it'll be interesting to think back on some of your relationships or your friendships and figure out where you are on those spectrums. We're going to talk a little bit, too, about those nasty sides of love. So when you get in disagreements, or when there's jealousy, or when there's actually, whether it be outside of a marriage or outside of a relationship, sexual intimacies between a partner of yours. We're going to talk about flirting and the positives and negatives of that, and when that occurs, generally more for people. And then I think another part of this learning plan that's interesting is describing what it feels like to fall in love. So what does that mean for each person, and how do you relay that to your current significant other or your future, and how do you actually describe love, and then how do different people describe love? So that's going to be kind of cool. We're talking about communication styles because love is all about communication. It's the number one reason why people go to counseling is they can't communicate what desires and wants they want. All they need to do is just tell each other, but that's the hardest part about being a human is communicating. So we're going to talk about nonverbal versus verbal and then dealing with conflicts. So this is a big learning plan, right? It's going to take you a little time. There's a lot to it, but again, there's not a whole lot due except for the 2 discussion boards. So there's going to be the one post for the big one for everyone, and then there's going to be your small little love languages post. So just be aware that those 2 are there. But there's a lot of reading, but I hope that you're going to find this to be one of those things where you go, aha, that's why this is happening in my relationship, or oh, now I understand why so-and-so acted this way. So just be aware of that. And that is Learning Plan 6.